What's up, guys? Jaydaniel here with my co-host Victor Marshall, and this is the Sales at Home podcast, where we
What's up,
talk
guys?
everything sales, recruiting, and high ticket. How you doing, friend?
Good, man. Good. So I'm pretty excited to talk about what we're talking about right now. Do you just
Yeah. So I was ranting.
let's jump into it?
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just gonna rant. Like, guys, follow-ups, like follow-ups, 95% of the time, especially in the industry where it's more like it's legit transformation, right? Like transforming your business, scaling your business, ads, like it's all bullshit. It is absolutely and 100% unequivocal bullshit, right? People are gonna say stuff like, oh, our fulfillment, we're gonna dial some stuff in and then we're gonna be ready to start. People are gonna say, oh, I want to get ads, and let me just work on what we have now and then we'll start. People will say, oh, I don't, I want to be able to make the full payment, let me start in a week, and then they disappear. And so what's happening, right? If you really think about it from a psychological aspect, if you did everything you possibly could on the sales call, here's what's happening. You've created a moment where they could possibly change, right? Really step into the new identity, like make the change and start working from there, right? This is the time where they're actually going to make a change, because if they go back to what they've always done, they're going to get what they've always had, right? The familiarity breeds comfort, and we don't do like hard shit from a place of comfort, right? So
Right.
like the sales call is the only time when they're going to actually make a decision. If they get off that call, 90% of the time your prospects are done, they are gone. And if you value your time as a fucking sales rep, it makes no sense to book a follow-up or anything unless it's very, very, very clear that it's logistical, right? Unless it's very, very clear that it is impossible for them to act because of real life factors. And what a lot of people do is they'll create factors that aren't really real because they're scared of change.
Mhm.
And you can't be scared of addressing that, right? Like it's not, bro, tell me not. 99% of the
Yeah.
time, it's absolute the shit people will make up to not have to put up money and get out of their comfort zone is actually insane. Tell me not.
Yeah. I think a lot of times if someone's putting up I have to think about it, or they just don't want it, you haven't proven enough that this is something that they need, or this is something that they could use to better their lives, or for whatever reason, your job in the sales call was not done correctly, or they were never going to buy in the first place. You have
Or
to serve people. Go ahead.
I want to add one more thing to that as well, right? Because I think like as a sales rep, you can still do everything in your power, get all the emotional hotspots and the reason to change and tie them down to it and get them to really kind of talk themselves into it. And, but that's us leading them to the water, right?
Yeah.
I think like you said, right? There's some people that are never going to buy until you change, like truly change their perspective, right? Like truly change it. And then you have to use everything they've told you as ammunition for them to change, right? Remind them. Because I think when they see the price, when they're confronted with the actual reality of having to take money out of their bank account and do something uncomfortable, I think people like freak out and they forget everything you talked about. I think you have to remind them of everything. But even then, like the amount of like it boggles my mind that the second that true commitment is brought up into the conversation, right? Like actually putting skin in the game, like every single time there's going to be the fear and the resistance and people running away, um and it's interesting, right? Because that is our job, right?
Yeah.
10% of people buy on the spot, 10% of people are never going to buy, 80% are probably going to be like iffy, let's do a follow-up, which means just bullshit, they're gone. You know,
Yeah.
most of the
I think you have to get into the mind of the prospect. You've got to
right.
realize that there's a couple things coming into play. There's
Yeah,
pride of this guy's seeing me laid bare, and he's telling me
yeah,
that this is the next step to be better, but I'm too
yeah,
proud to admit that. There's fear, there's indecision. Some people are just indecisive by nature and will never make a decision. They're always going to be people who are fumbling and stumbling because they just will not make a decision. And
yeah,
that indecision is cramping their growth. It's
right.
really like hindering them from getting better and going further. And it's like that pride, that fear, that indecision. And some people are just they are just not curious enough into what their life will look like.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, let me get on this call so I can just kind of dip my toe in the water, like you said. But I'm
Right.
never really going to jump in. I have a full
Yeah.
suit on. I'm not getting in the water with a full suit on. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
dip my toe in and just see what's going on, just so I
Yeah.
can kind of have an idea. If I wanted to make this decision later, I could.
Yeah.
And it's that cost of time. It's the cost of. It's not just the money that they're losing. They're not losing just the money that they're going to gain. They're losing that time. They're losing that peace of mind. They're losing that growth in not making a decision. And a
For
lot
sure.
of people are stuck in that indecision matrix where it's like
Right.
red pill, blue pill. I'm going to take neither and just kind of watch and see what happens. And then you end up in the same place where you were a year from now.
Yeah. It's funny because people think not making a decision is not making a decision is making a decision. It's making a
Yeah.
decision to stay where you are. And yeah, I think I think our job on the sales call is to make not making a decision more painful than doing something.
Hmm.
Uh, it's just fascinating because if you look at the people who are successful in most courses or even coaching programs or anything in general, bro, like I've noticed, like seeing people who succeed in different like programs and stuff, like you can tell when somebody's gonna succeed, course or not,
Yeah.
right? And those people are the ones where it's like, okay, cool. Like, and you know what I mean? Like, those people are the ones where it's like, okay, cool. If you do the coaching, if you do the course, if you get the help, you're going to get there way faster, but you're going to get there on by yourself, right? Maybe it'll take a year or two, but you're going to get there because
Yeah.
you have like, it's obvious to tell. Dude, I think 80%, I think like a very large percent of people are just full of shit and they're never going to, until they really, really have something traumatic happen, they're just never going to succeed, bro. And like
Because they
fuck
don't
it.
want it.
But and fuck it, right? Like I'll take your money, dude. Whatever. Like it's on you for being a bitch and not caring. You know what I mean? Like not really having the drive to do what's required, right? Even though you're getting all the tools. So it's fascinating, right? Like kind of our role in that. And I'm always curious to know like have it like how big of an impact will that conversation that we have with them be, you know? Because some people like it changes the trajectory of their life. Some people they get hyped up like a Tony Robbins seminar, right? You freaking just like you just taught them about like how to make decisions and they're pumped, and then a week later they go back to their bullshit, right? So it's fascinating to me.
Yeah,
How
they
that
don't want
works.
it. They don't want it. They don't want to make the
Yeah.
change. So it's like a lot of people will come into something thinking, "Oh yeah, sales is a perfect example." A lot of new closers come into the sales industry and they're like, "Hey, I'm here to make money. I'm here to make, 10K a month." And then they get in the space and they don't want to do what's required to get there, or they talk to somebody who could help them do that, and they don't want to make that decision. It's like I don't want to be sold, but you're in a sales position or you're trying to be in a sales position in a sales industry and you don't want to be sold. Bad prospects make really bad salespeople. And
Yep.
so it's like if you're the type of person who's going to come into something because it's the new fad or it's the big thing that's catching on, then a lot of those people are going to fall off. And we saw it
Right.
with the sales industry. A lot of the people came in with the inbound closer craze and everybody wants to make money online. Everybody wants to be home and be remote, but you come in and it's like, oh, I actually have to do work. I actually have to find opportunities. I actually have to like
That shit's
better
hard, dude.
myself. I actually have to better myself. I actually have to
Yeah.
develop personally in order to get this done. Like, yeah, I don't want to do it. And then what happens a month now from now? They're like, oh, guys, I'm out of sales. I'm falling out of the industry, having either made money or not made any money at all. But
Right.
it's a constant grind.
Right. No, dude, it's a grind across. It's a grind getting like a good client that you can close for and retaining them,
Mhm.
right? Like it's a grind like closing, right? Like most people are like, if I just get a good gig where I can close and develop, I'll be good. But no, dude, like I'm in my second week on this offer. I'm taking 8 calls a day, and it's tough, dude. You
Mhm.
know, like you have 3 calls that are absolute bullshit in a row, and then you look at your calendar, you got 5 more. You're like, fuck, you know, and it like it's hard. It's hard across the board, but like that's what it takes to make 10 grand, 20. You know what I mean? Like to make six
Yeah.
figures, bro. Like, and it's I just don't. I think a lot of people just aren't built like that, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't get money without work. Somebody worked for it. Even if it was handed to you, somebody worked for
no, bro, it happens in 21 days magically.
it.
It just magically happens,
And
dude.
what I think is funny too is a lot of these people come in and they think oh yeah, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna work for this business because this business owner is like making a bunch of money. And a lot of these business owners are trying their best to take an idea that they had and make it work. They're putting in that grind, right? So if
Right.
you're going to come in and expect to just be spoon fed by them and not put in the same level of grind, then what are you doing? Like
100%.
you're not contributing, you're not giving value anymore. You're just leeching,
Yeah.
right? And
Dude. Oh, that's
it's
so
crazy how many leeches there are in the sales industry.
in general, bro.
Yeah.
Most like in general, and I think in large part, like I think it's interesting, right? Because it's almost like society makes people like that, like just dependent, right? Like just sucking the nipple, bro. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
that's where the money's at.
yeah, that's true. That's where the
The money's
control's
at.
at, bro. That's where the power's at, making people
Yeah.
dependent on you. All this shit about like, hey, here's a check, right? Like, let's shut down your business, and you have to follow the rules and free money so you can vote for me. It's a control game, but it's
Mhm.
like I think a lot of people come to the industry without change, like still thinking like that, like looking for a handout, and those are the people that get fucked. You know what I mean, bro? Because even like because I've been on a couple different offers where we're doing biz op. You know what I mean? Like start an Amazon store, or learn a new skill, learn trading, learn this, learn that, and they think it's a hand. Dude, you can't pay somebody 20 grand to make you a better person. You need
Yeah.
to you know what I mean?
Gotta do the work.
Yeah, and
It's an odd dichotomy. This whole
yeah,
make money online, start a business, join sales, like it's an odd dichotomy because you're trying to leave that controlled 9 to 5, controlled working for the man, controlled corporate life, and you're trying to build something on your own that's gonna last you and take care of your family forever and something that you can grow and be proud of. So you're coming from this trying to build something better, and the problem is you're taking all of the same concepts and all of the same ideologies that you had in that 9 to 5, and you're trying to bring it into something that's going to grow and make your family better.
yep,
But growing, you weren't growing in that 9 to 5. You weren't growing in that corporate structure. You were staying stuck on that cog and just going and going and going and going and going and getting nowhere. And now you're trying to bring that into your own business. You're trying to bring that into your own, you know, online remote work, and you're just stuck in the same cog over and over and over again because you're not willing to do the extra work. It's harder to be a remote worker, to start your own business, to be in sales than it is to go work for somebody for 40 years and clock in and clock out.
yep.
You could do the most back-breaking work over here at a 9 to 5 at a corporate structure, clock in, clock out for 40 years. That's still easier than coming over here into the remote space and building a business or sales or, marketing or whatever it is that you're doing in the remote space. It's a lot harder over here than it is in that corporate structure.
You know what the contrast? I feel like the contrast is like it's like going from being in the zoo where all the food is brought to you. You just kind of got to sit there and chill, right? And not really have a lot of muscle or not really be that intimidating because everything's being done for you. To having to legitimately hunt, like fucking hunt. You know what I mean? It's interesting too because this is the conversation we have with prospects. Like, hey, buddy, like you've been operating a business that makes 10K a month. You take home three for the last 2 years. Like,
Mhm.
until you start acting like that seven-figure dude, it's not going to happen. And I think it's the same thing across the board, right? Like to grow, you do need to become somebody else. And I
Yeah.
think that's um, you know what's interesting too, bro? Because I'm noticing like the more sales calls I take, like the more not disagreeable, but like the more I guess curious, like skeptical and curious I am, right? Like anytime I hear anything, I just feel the urge to like challenge it or like question it, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's interesting, right? Because I can almost feel myself like changing, like the more of these conversations I have, it's like you wouldn't be comfortable. What are you talking about, right? Like anything I hear, I
Yeah.
just feel the urge to
Yeah.
challenge it, you know?
I feel the same way with talking to salespeople looking for jobs.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. I'm like, okay, all right, you fed me that same line through 6 other people. I've heard the
right,
same thing all day. So tell me
right,
what's really going on. Tell me what.
yeah,
Oh, I'm so good. I promise you, I'm an A player. I promise you, I can deliver. It reminds me of when I first tried to start my agency back in 2020. Right, I had this
cool.
guy from Nigeria hit me up, and he was like, I can close 80% of your calls. I guarantee
Well,
it.
show me the way.
I
Sorry.
was like, I was like, I was like 80% of my calls, right? He's like, I
Yeah.
can close 80% of your deals. Well, I was running a cold calling agency at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
80% of my calls, sure. Great. First of all, you don't even know what I do. You don't even know who I am. You don't even know what's going on with me. So for you to come in and say, oh, I can close 80% of those calls, that's hilarious to me, right? So I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, no thanks. See you, dude. Like, whatever. Like, I completely shut that down. But that's what you're saying. Like, you're questioning everything that's coming in because a lot of people are feeding you with what they think you want to hear. And
Yep.
that's what it is. Like, I don't need you to tell me what I want to hear. I need you to tell me the truth. Tell me
Yep.
what's really going on because I can't help you if you don't tell me the truth. Because if you don't tell me the truth, I'm going to put you in an opportunity that you're going to be required to live up to the line you just fed me. Right.
Yep.
And if you can't do that, that's bad on me. It's bad on you and it's bad for that business. And then I'm never going to work with you again. You know? So it's like, I'm over here trying to protect my pipeline and my line of credit with these businesses, you know? And it's
Yep.
like, so as you come in as a salesperson and you're telling me that you can do X, Y, and Z, well, you better do X, Y, and Z. Because if I put you in a place that requires X, Y, and Z and you can't do it, that's a problem, right?
Yep. All you fucks that are watching this, you're not fucks, you're great loyal subscribers. But everybody who's watching, if you're looking for a gig, like Victor is literally a recruiter. Anytime I talk to a business owner that needs closers, I send him to Victor. Victor has connections up the ass and he's talking to closers all day and placing them. Like, listen to how he's thinking before you reach out and try to and say some bullshit like, hey, place me. I'm top G. I watched Andrew Tate, you know.
I watched Andrew Tate. I'm the man.
It's
I'm
like,
the
yeah,
alpha D.
I could close anything, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely, bro.
Yeah.
And that's huge, right? Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's like it's literally you just I guess your detector almost gets like sharpened, right? The more
Yeah.
because most people it's actually fascinating too, because like you start to notice things, bro. Like today I was talking to now I see red flags so quickly, bro. I see
Mhm.
red flags so quickly. Like and that's why I was kind of like mad that I was a little late to this call because like today I had I had like two or three people, bro, that came into the call like 10 minutes late, right?
Yeah.
They were like, let's go. And I'm like, nah, buddy, we got to reschedule. Like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but you can identify the red flags. You can like, you can start to kind of see things
Yeah.
like, because it's true, bro. Like, no, nothing's ever as it seems. And a lot of people put up a front. Yeah, I want to change. I'm pumped. I'm the shit. And then like, you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting because you start being able to pick apart like, within 3 or 4 minutes, this person's probably gonna like give some kind of like, you know, they're
Yeah.
probably gonna like defer responsibility. They're probably gonna give some kind of like mindset bullshit objection, like even though they're saying all the right things, it's just obvious, you know.
Right.
And I think that's across the board, right? Like when you're doing recruiting, you can tell like you talk to a sales rep, and it's like, yeah, this guy's probably never closed a gig before, and he
Yeah.
just bought a course, and it's
Yeah.
very obvious,
And that's the funny
right?
thing is there's like 6 courses. So like there's like 6 courses. So I know what you're going to say before you say it. Like I
Yeah,
know the line you're going to give me. I know, and I can almost tell who you came from by how you say it. So it's like, okay, all right. Thank you for giving me that line. Thank you for, walking through your script. Now let me ask you a question that I know that you're not going to answer. And let me figure out what it is that you really need and what I can really do for you. Because a lot of people think, oh yeah, let me get a job, let me get a job, let me get a job. And they try to like puff themselves up to look like something that they're not, and they're
right.
left on red.
Yep.
Because it's like that's great that you have all these accolades and that you feel like you can do all this stuff. But if you could really do all that stuff, then you should be able to go out and find somebody who needs it. You shouldn't be coming to me as a recruiter.
And
Like
they
if
be presenting themselves differently too, bro.
exactly, exactly.
Like
Like,
you can tell when somebody knows how to close just how they talk to you, bro.
right. Real recognizes real, right? Like
Yeah.
Wayne says, real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like there's no need for me to tell you I'm everything if I'm everything. If I'm everything, you're gonna know it. And you're
Yeah.
gonna want it. You're gonna want it in your company because I'm gonna present myself that way. I'm gonna make sure that you see me that way because that's my reputation, and my reputation speaks a lot louder than a piece of paper with a bunch of letters and numbers on it. So I think that it's a funny thing recruiting because you're dealing with a lot of people who are trying to get there. And I respect it. I respect the grind, I respect the hustle. But what it baffles me, honestly, and I might be shooting myself in the foot here, but it baffles me as a recruiter that some people will come to me and say, "Hey, I've got 20 years or 10 to 15 years of experience. I've closed $3 million, like all of this stuff. And why are you coming to me, a lowly recruiter, in a company that you probably haven't heard of before? Why are you coming to me asking me for some of my positions? You should be able to be anywhere you want because of the skill you have, but you don't have the know-how because you're stuck in that 9 to 5 mentality of, oh, let me just go and apply and get a job, that you don't have the know-how to go out and create it for yourself. Because there's plenty of people who are less skilled than you that are creating a lot better positions than you because they know how to put themselves out there.
You know what's interesting about that too, bro? Like what you just said about like somebody says they have a lot of experience and they're really good and
Yeah.
recruiters look me up, right? Like that natural skepticism you get, like, dude, why aren't you already in the fucking gig if you're so fucking good, right?
Mhm.
The sales call, here's what people don't understand. That's the sales call. The
Yeah.
sale is you like buying into them, right? And I don't think
Yeah.
people understand that, right? Like if a recruiter like if you have that natural skepticism, they should be able to identify this guy thinks I'm full of shit. And before you say like I'm full of shit, let me explain. Like
Mhm.
this is what's going on. I'm interviewing with 5 different companies. I'm looking for a really good one. My friend spoke really highly of you.
Yeah.
And so I'm not even here asking for a job. I'm actually wanting to have a professional conversation to identify if there's a way where we could potentially work together, right? But I'm really here. I'm just really trying to like network and add value
And you
because
know what's funny about that? Oh, I love that because it's like that's the difference between a great closer, like a top performer, and somebody in a top offer.
mm-hmm.
Somebody who's doing, like, there are companies out there who are set up so sweet that you can just walk in off the street and close deals, right? And they've set it up so sweet, and that's awesome. I love that. I love companies like that because it gives people who have less skill the chance to grow and develop and thrive, right? It's their
Yep.
performance. They get to go in there and perform and get better,
Yep.
right? But take that rep in that job, that offer, and send him somewhere else.
He's fucked.
He's lost
Send him to the
because
bread line.
because he can't think for himself. He's too stuck on the script. He's too stuck on the process, and he needs somebody to hold his hand and walk him through it until he gets his bearings. Granted, you're always going to have that ramp up period. In a new offer, you're always going to be able, like, need the time to get, like, acclimated.
Yeah,
But
man, bro, I've seen killers get on an offer, bro, and within 2 weeks they're closing 10 deals a
yeah,
week,
it's
bro.
still it's still two
You
weeks, but
know?
still, like, that's
Yep, yep,
because they know what they're doing inside and out, not just they
yep.
know the offer inside and out. They know
Right.
they know the sales conversation inside and out. They understand the things that we're talking about.
Yep.
So when I have somebody come to me that's like, I'm closing 3 million or whatever, blah blah blah, and the conversation is flat, the conversation is ended. Like,
Yep.
there's no push and pull. There's none of that, like, sales power that you have on a sales call. Like, I'm like, okay, I don't believe you, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
I go to
I
the
don't
gym.
believe it.
I
I'm
go
like,
to the gym
why
six
you
days a
always
week.
lying?
I've been going to the gym 6 days a week for the last 10 years. Come watch me bench 135 for one.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
Yeah. No, dude, you can tell, like, just looking at some of
Yeah,
it. Like, you can tell, like, within 5 minutes. Dude, once you take enough sales calls, within 3 or 4 minutes, you can tell, like, what objection they're gonna give.
yeah.
You know?
And you know what's funny too? On the transverse side, you can be
Yeah.
brand new to sales and have those qualities that you can control a conversation, that you can walk in and you're gonna be good.
Yep.
So you can have those qualities and be brand new and be fresh into sales, and somebody looks at you and you're like, man, this guy's gonna kill it, or this girl's gonna kill it. And a lot of times it's the women. They're like,
Yep.
she's gonna kill this job. She's gonna kill an offer, and she's gonna kill this industry, dude. I've got like six that just popped into my head right now that I'm
Mm.
like, first time I talked to them, male and female, I was like, man, they're gonna do crazy things. I'm jealous of their potential. And it's like, I would much rather place that person that has zero experience, but tons of potential because they can acclimate to the sales process in
Right.
themselves before they acclimate to somebody else's sales process.
Mhm.
That I'd much rather place them than somebody who's like, yeah, I've been selling for 20 years and I've sold $5 million, and you know what? I'm still coming to you because I'm coming to you month after month after month because I can't find an opportunity.
You know what it is, bro? You know what's funny too? It's almost like, so let's say you're running a company, right? And you get a 20-year-old that knocks on your door and says, hey, let me get a job. I was
Hmm.
working at this place for 2 years. It didn't really work out. And like, here I am, right? And then you get it, right? You're like, okay, cool. He's young. He's learning. You know, he has the right qualities. Let's let him in. You get a guy who's 30 who's knocking on your door, right? He's like, hey, let me in. I had a kind of a corporate background. I worked here and whatever. I worked these places and, I need a place. You're like, right? It's like a semi entry level job. You're like, okay, sure, come on board. We'll try you out for a bit, right?
Yep.
And you get a guy who's 40, right? 20, like he's coming in for an entry level spot, right? Some semi entry, right? He's like, and he's just coming in like, yeah, I had this background, work for these companies, whatever. Here I am. Like you're almost gonna be like so much more skeptical. Like, so you have 20 years experience, and, and you're looking for an entry level position, like what's going on, dude?
Yeah.
Like, what have you been doing for the last 20 years, right? It's almost a detriment when somebody has a lot of experience, but they haven't like
Yeah.
achieved, you know what I mean? They haven't achieved much because
Let's
they're,
break it down even further. It's
uh-huh,
let's go basketball with it, right? If
yeah,
I'm the Golden State Warriors, do I want Kevin Durant over Jordan Poole? No, no, I don't. Why don't I want that? Yes, Kevin Durant was great.
hmm,
Back great for you back in 18, 19 or 17, 18. But now he's proven he's got all this experience, he's got all this skill, he's got all this talent. But the way he's led his teams, the way that things have gone for him, whatever, like that's over there. But you've got this young, bright talent who's shown a lot of promise, who's shown that he can work in your system, who's shown that he's the next thing coming up in your organization. Would you make a trade that you lose that bright next future talent just to bring somebody in who's may or may not perform? No, of course
I
not.
think, but I think with that analogy, bro, I think KD's gonna perform. He's just kind of full of shit. Things aren't going good. Let me change teams.
But
Like
here's the thing. Here's the thing
that's where
though.
reputation comes in, bro. That dude doesn't
Here's
manage
the
his
thing though. Like
own.
you have you've got one player who is so hungry and so like he's showing you he's hungry. He's developing, he's getting better, he's contributing to your wins, right? You've got
Right,
another player who was doing great for you in your system, and that's great. You know you have a good system, right? So
right,
you can almost plug anyone into that system, right? But you put him outside of your system and nothing's happened. Bounced out of the playoffs twice, you know, swept this last season. So
right.
it's like so you've got that dichotomy going on where it's like new, fresh, like it works, and then you've got this guy who's got all this talent, all this ability, but it's like, do I want to lose all of this talent to bring him in? Do I want to bring that back into this organization just because he's got all this talent and he may or may not be good for me? He may get injured, he may this, he may that, or am I going to stick with this young, fresh talent? And a lot of I know we're talking about NBA, but a lot of teams are thinking that. Like, do I bring KD in to lose all of my talent, even though he's got all of this skill, he's got all these accolades, but there's no performance. Like
Right.
he's there's no championships besides the ones with Golden State.
Right. You know what it is too? I think like depending on your age, people look for different shit, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're younger, they're looking for potential. Does this person have the attributes to develop, right? Because I think the beauty of somebody being younger is they have less like bad experiences and trauma. Even women, right? No offense to any like women watching, but like you know what I mean? Like, dude, if like a chick who's in her 20s who's a little bit younger that hasn't had a whole lot of trauma is probably gonna give you less headaches than one that's like in her 30s that's been with a bunch of guys and had a bunch of heartbreak, right? I think
Oh no, dude. I don't know about that, but I get what
it's
you're saying. I
I
get
don't know.
what
Maybe I've just been traumatized, right? But
you're saying. Who hurt you, bro?
maybe I'm the most trauma. But like if you think about it from like yourself being a recruiter or like a business owner's viewpoint, right? Like when somebody's younger, you don't really expect them to be a beast, but you do look for the ability to develop them. And when
Yeah.
somebody's older, like they almost need to already be a beast. So it's a balance of like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Depending on where your career is, it's a balance of like having like the skill versus having the potential, right?
And I don't think it's just age. I think it's also time in the industry too. If you're younger in the industry, that I think there's a certain window in age where if you're younger in the industry, then they're looking to develop you as well. Especially
Right.
if that talent is there, especially if that budding talent is there. And if you tell me you've been in the industry for 5 years and your performance is trash, I'm gonna question a lot. I'm gonna
Yeah.
question your ability because I mean you can almost stumble into sales in 5 years being in sales. You can
Right.
stumble into a position where you start to make some money. You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
can you can you can, mess around and get a triple double and end up in sales. Like over a period of
True.
time, like you can network your way into some good positions that you
Yeah.
can get some good experience. So if you haven't done that and you've been in the industry for 5+ years, like something's wrong.
Right.
Like something's
Oh.
like wrong at a core level. Like something's off about you.
And I think that's like that adds to the argument of there's a book by Dean Graziosi. It's called Millionaire Success Habits.
Yeah, I knew you were going to talk about Dean Graziosi's book. Yeah,
And he talks like that's like literally the first chapter of his book.
yeah,
He's talking about the guy who's a billionaire, right? But when he was working for $1 an hour, right? He outworked everybody, and the owner was like, "You're dude, there is no way I can't give you a raise right now. This is incredible. You have such a
mhm,
work ethic, and I'm paying you $1 an hour, right?" And it's like, I think you need to maximize whatever position or company you get into because like that like dude five like you the next company you go to like that is literally like you,
yeah,
right? And so yeah, if you go for 5 years and you're not getting better, if you go for 5 years and you're not getting results, like a business, that's an instant red flag, bro.
yeah.
Like how earlier we talked about you get the objection in your head,
Mhm.
right? When you start hearing shit, like that's an instant objection. You're almost creating objections in their head, right?
Oh, yeah,
Most objections are caused like by the sales rep,
yeah,
and so like it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, for
Absolutely
sure,
crazy.
for sure. And it's just one of those things where you're like, you know what? As a sales rep coming in, or as a business owner, like trying
Mm-hmm.
to come into a call and let me figure out who am I? What do I need? What is it going to take to get me there? And
Mm-hmm.
I act on those things, right? I act on those things and I get better and I develop, whether that's through buying a course, whether that's through my own self work, whether that's through, some mentorship or some coaching, whatever that is. If I'm really trying to be successful, I've got to first do an inventory of who I am, what I need to be better, like where am I failing, what I need to be better, and then find how I can be better at it. If you can
Yep.
do that, and if you can exude that when you're on these calls, it's going to help you tremendously. Like in your own personal life, figure that out. Because how, like you said, you start to notice things not just on sales calls, but everywhere, right? It becomes a part of your life. You start to see, hold on, let me argue this point better. Let me understand this decision before I make it. Let me try to understand this person over here's point of view on why they're doing what they're doing that's upsetting me, or why they're doing what they're doing that's that's causing some friction in the family or whatever it is. Let me focus more on what's actually going on around me. And that's what the personal development side of sales does for you. It helps you to
You
develop into that person who can view everything from a phone, view everything from a phone call, right? In that same lens.
yeah, everywhere, bro. Have you ever read the book 177 Mental Strategies of the World Class?
No, I haven't.
Very, very good book that I think everybody should read. It talks about the difference between professionals and amateurs.
Mm,
And I think one of the biggest differences between like amateurs and professionals is like professionals see everything, bro. And
yeah.
they're thinking 10 steps ahead, like freaking chess. Like grandmasters think 11 to 15 steps into the future, right? Another great book by Patrick Bet David, right? Your next 5 moves. Like like when you truly become a professional, like you start to see things. Somebody's talking, you're like, okay, cool. So kind of the human need that they have is this. They're seeking this by saying that.
Hmm.
Well, you know what I mean? Like they're seeking this. They're this kind of person. This is what they value, right? You can
Yeah.
almost predict what somebody's going to do, right? And I think that's like that's the evolution you get when you start doing a lot of sales. Like you start to hear somebody talk and you hear every single word. And you know like a lot of people that aren't really super social, like they struggle to have a conversation. Like that completely goes away because you can have a conversation off each and every single word that somebody says.
Yeah.
Like I used to do a lot of freestyling, right? And like one and I don't really do it anymore, really. But like one thing I noticed, even in that, right? Like even in that was like it got to the point where you can like connect like any word to like any word, right? And come up with literally like a million variations at once. And I think the
Yeah.
same thing happens with your ability to have conversations in sales. Every single word somebody says, you can interrupt them and build a conversation on. What
Yeah.
do you do comfortable? Hold on, you said this. Where's that coming from? And because you understand that like words, like every word that somebody says, bro, it's like a label. And
Mhm.
underneath that label, if you open the box, you have the true meaning behind it.
Mhm.
Every single word. You can unpack any word, bro, and control like people's mental journey because you understand, like, not to take anything at face value.
Yeah.
You know?
And
Um,
and that's the difference between, like you said, being a professional and being an amateur. And when you're a professional, it you exude professionalism.
right.
It's like, like and 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 the difference is drastic, right?
Yeah.
The difference between professionals and amateurs is drastic. Brian, one of my favorite stories that I've ever read is Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba.
Mamba,
he
come on.
he was playing in a rec. He was playing in like a rec league, and some like high school graduate, top whatever, was
40
like,
points
"Oh
in the
yeah."
game.
He's like, "I'm gonna bust on you." Like he's like, "I got you. I'm gonna kill you in basketball, like one on one."
Yep, yep.
And Scalabrine said to him, he's like,
Saw the video.
"Yeah." He's like, "I am one of the least skilled players in the NBA, and I'm still 100 times better than you." Like that's the difference between professionals and amateurs. And it's like amateurs will do things like get on a call and be like, "Hey, I'm just so passionate about this opportunity to make all this money, blah 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 blah." And bro, you telling me you're passionate is telling me you're not passionate. If you were passionate, I would be able to smell it on you. It'd be so the passion would be so there that I could cut it with a freaking butter knife.
You're telling me the most redeeming quality you've gotten over your entire sales career is that you're fucking passionate, you fucking simpleton, right? Like, like no, I'm not gonna talk about my
Yeah.
mastery over this skill set or an amazing like accolade that I've gotten and how I could do that for you because I know that you value this because I asked you the question showing my skill. No, no, no. I'm passionate, you
Yeah.
know?
I
I'm
despise
hungry.
that word. I despise that
Hungry
word.
AF, bro. Hungry AF.
Hungry and passionate, I really do not like when people describe it of themselves.
Yeah.
If they're like, "Oh, I'm so hungry, I'm so passionate." I'm like, first of all, they're buzzwords, and buzzwords are just annoying to me to hear
You give
on
them
a
some
sales call and on an interview. But like, it's one of those things where if I had to tell my wife, oh, I'm so passionate about you, I'm so passionate about this relationship. If I've got to say it, she's going to look at me like, you're an idiot. Like, why are you telling me that? Like, you're not passionate about this. You're trying to fake something. You're trying to make me feel like you're passionate, but I know you're not. So if I have to tell you, then that means I'm doing something wrong, right? You should be thinking it of me. You should be like, I should be like, man, Jaydaniel's
exactly,
so passionate about sales. Jaydaniel's so
exactly.
hungry. Like, I just love the fire in him. I love the way that he does this, that, and that. Like, I can see the passion pouring off of him. Sales is his passion, right? That should be something others say about you. He's so hungry about this. Like, he's getting it. His drive is
Ooh, and
immaculate.
bro, and to add to that, and this is where the psychology comes in. What sort of actions do I need to take? What sort of person do I need to be for or like people to perceive me as a
Yeah,
guy who fits
yeah,
the role, right? And when you start thinking like
yeah,
that's when opportunities start to appear
right.
because you're actually
Because
being the guy.
that's when you start providing value,
Yeah.
because you're like, what the type of person do I need to be to get this role? That's how you create roles for yourself. That's how you never have to apply for a job. That's how you network your way into a job. You say, okay, what does this business owner, what does J. Daniel Enterprises need me to be in order for me to get the job that I want? So
Come on down.
let me go and let me mimic that. Let me just put that on and emulate everything that he needs. So that way, when he turns around, he sees me. When he's sleeping, he sees me. When he closes his eyelids, I'm in the back of his eyelid. Like, let me make sure that I'm everything that he needs. So let me just start by doing boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, you've become the position, you've become the job, you've become the person to fill that spot. So it's really hard for a business owner to look away from someone who's provided so much value to them, because they're like, all right, I need to fill this position. And you've been filling that position for them. You've been showing them that you can do that. You've been like in their face saying, like, hey, I got this for you. And they need to fill that position. They'll be hard pressed not to put you in that spot.
Yep. And for anybody listening too, right? Like, because I think it's easy to put like business owners,
Yeah.
oh, those big scary business owners, to put them into like a pedestal. Like I think a really good hack for anybody when it comes to just conversations and like networking is like treat every single person like an empty canvas and just figure out what they value. You know, like that, like that's where you have power. Like treat everybody like an empty canvas. Like don't be different, just understand what they value. And then
Yeah.
like it allows you to anything you present, anything you talk about, you have the ability to present it in the best possible light because you know what they value,
Yeah.
right? Right. So people don't care about you, they care about themselves. And if you present what they value the most, right, they're gonna value you the most,
Hmm.
right? Dude, like literally you're interviewing for a gig, there's 5 people applying for the spot. You have the least experience, but you match the things that the owner values,
Hmm.
right? Sales call,
Yours. Yeah.
right? Prospect has spoken to 5 different companies, but the one company, even though one company has way better testimonials and like it just makes the most sense logically, like this one just really kind of hit what they value, right? And they mentioned what they value. Maybe they didn't even do their whole pitch. Because most pitches that I do, bro, I don't even cover all the deliverables. I just talk about what they value and
Hmm.
and talk about how it's going to get them the things they want and how it's going to get them away from like the pain, right?
Yeah.
You treat every conversation like that empty canvas, right? Your interviews are going to go so much better. Your personal conversations go so much better. Your sales calls are turn in. You don't get tired anymore because it's just a conversation,
Yeah.
right? And it just like I think that will transform the game for a lot of people because I see a lot of people putting a lot of pressure on the sales calls and on the interviews and just chill the fuck out, you know. I think that's
It's a
that's
marriage
that's
of ideals. It's a
right.
marriage of ideals. And if my ideals and my values align with your ideas and your values, then we're good, right? And we're gonna do great business together. Whether that's as a salesperson trying to get a job or a business owner trying to level up, right? It's a
Yeah.
marriage of ideals. And in a marriage, the best way the marriage works is if I don't care about me. I don't worry about me. I worry about you. And it's your
Yeah.
job to worry about me and my job to worry about you. Right. So as a coach, coaching this business on how to, grow their marketing, for instance, right? My job is to worry about you and your job is to worry about me. So let's make sure that we worry about each other. And then when we do that, we're always in a constant motion of growth. And we're just in
Right.
this cycle of just growth, upward, 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 upward. And all of a sudden, we look back and we're like, man, it's been 10 years and we're still together. We're still going strong. We're still killing it. Right. It's a marriage of ideals. And you've got to think about, you can't go into it thinking about yourself and being selfish. If you're going into sales because you selfishly want something, you're going to fail, because your job is not to do anything for yourself. Your job as a salesperson is to take problem and solution and be that bridge that brings problem to solution, right? Your job is to lay down flat and let the problem walk over you to reach that solution.
Right. I think there needs to be a level of awareness, like obviously, like you know what I mean, like focus on the other person for sure. But I think you need to also be aware of what you are and what you're not,
Yeah.
right? Because the guy with no experience shouldn't be saying I have experience, because that's just bullshit. The guy who doesn't have any experience should be saying, not even saying I don't have experience. They should be saying I do have, right? And then insert the quality that the person's looking for, right? I think there needs to be a certain level of awareness of what you actually bring to the table.
Yeah.
And
That's
that,
no,
okay.
that's great. That's great. Like the question I get often when it comes to like coaching people through interviews,
Uh-huh.
how do I beat the experience objection? And the funny thing to me is that's exactly what it is. It's an objection, right? So what are we as salespeople? We handle objections. That's our only job. So two ways you can do this. You can, first of all, do your research. Number one, research like crazy what the company needs, what they're looking for, what their values are, what's their mission statement, what's their core values, what's their vision. Like where are
Mhm.
they trying to go as a company? What are they looking for? What's the company? What do they value? Right? What does the job post say that you applied for? Or what does what are they looking for? Figure that out. And then when you get on that interview, you show who you are
Yep.
as it relates to what they're looking for. And you fill that pocket, you fill that pocket, you fill that pocket, you fill that pocket. So all of a sudden, when it comes time to say, hey, what's your experience level? You're like, wait, there's no need, because you've already shown you can fill all these pockets, right? Now you can do that before you ever get on an interview. And that's what we were just talking about, being valuable,
Yep.
valuable people, right? So you do that before you ever get on an
Yeah.
interview. But if you're on an interview and you have no experience and somebody asks you what your experience level is, and you have not done your research and you have not shown that you can do that job, you've already lost. And now you're backpedaling. And you're like, oh man, how do I answer this? Well, I was a kid and I closed my mom on giving me cookies. And then in high school, I closed this girl on going to prom with me. Like you're reaching.
Yeah. Dude, you know what's it's funny about that too? Like, if every objection is just a label on a box that we don't know the contents of, right? Like, what is like experience? Like, if you think about it, right? Why are they asking that? If you really think about it, right? Are they actually looking for experience? Is experience the most important thing in their life that's going to change their situation,
Nope.
right? Or are they looking for validation that you can actually get the job done because you haven't invaded and
Yep.
you made them doubt you, right?
Yep.
Like, and you can ask that. Like, you can literally say, okay, and just real quick, right? Because I know you said you're looking for experience, and I want to, make sure I understand like what that means. Like, are you, when you ask that, do you mean like you're I guess looking for a way to know whether I can actually achieve the role? Yes. Okay, cool. So here's an example of how that would actually help you feel that way, right? Whatever, right? You can kind of relabel it, or you can just ask, okay, and I guess when you say you're looking for experience, like, can I ask why? Can I ask like what's behind that? Like, and I think like what that does for you is like it allows you to number one, it changes the objection,
Yeah.
right? It changes the objection, like, because you'll be so surprised somebody gives you an objection and you just ask what do you mean by that, what's
Yeah.
behind that, and they say something completely different. If you actually tried to handle the initial one, guess what was going to happen?
You're
You'd fall
backpedaling.
flat on your
Yeah.
face,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes.
So probe until like you actually understand the real objection and what they're really looking for and address
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Take it.
And
Oh, yeah.
that's the second way to handle it. You literally just ask questions. And if you ask question until you're clear on what they're actually trying to get. And but the thing is, you can completely avoid that by showing them that before you even get on the call.
Yep.
You can completely avoid the formal interview. You can completely avoid it whatsoever. You just have to make sure that you're showing them who you are, what you can do, and how you can meet what they need. Because sales call, interview, you know, business owner trying to jump into whatever, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is relate to what they need, right? If I'm a salesperson and I'm talking to a business owner and I'm talking to them about buying a $50,000, you know, package and blah, 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 and they're skeptical about it, if I give them what they need, if I show them what they need, that I have what they need, I've won that call, right?
Yep.
And I show them what they need versus their trepidations about it, right? So if I'm a salesperson trying to get a job and I know what that company needs, and I also understand that they're going to have skepticism about me, if I show them that I can be exactly what they need, that skepticism that they had about me goes away.
Yep.
And so it's that balance of just making sure that you're really in it, making sure that you're really going to do the work to be good, to be great, because you can get by. Like I said, you can get by and stumble into sales, but you can also fall really, really hard and mess yourself up. But if you really want to be good at this, it's not difficult. It's simple. It's hard because you have to put the work in constantly, but the work is simple. The hard part is consistency and building that in and building your brand and building your skill set. But the skill set itself is simple. It's conversation.
It's a conversation. All right, guys. This was fun. Hope you got some value out of this meeting, out of this video. We're gonna be jumping on here with a guest very soon, so stay tuned for more. Hasta vista. Hasta la vista. Is that how it's
See you guys. Thanks for watching Sales at Home podcast. If you loved our content and would like to see more, please hit that like, subscribe, and that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss out on any episodes coming up. If you'd like to see more of Jaydaniel, click here. If you'd like to see more of the Ninja Closer, click here. If you'd like to get your questions answered by us on our show, email us at salesathomepodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram. Peace.